The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Aquarius Rising, Part 1. From vision to vitality, where ideals gain traction and innovation learns execution. For Aquarius Rising, the Upachaya houses, 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th, shape the journey from detached intellect into conscious, applied evolution. Ruled by Saturn and co-ruled by Rahu, Aquarius is future-focused, reform-driven, and socially aware. But these houses don't reward theory. They demand strategic, persistent effort. They test whether Aquarius Rising can translate their ideals into influence, their concepts into commitments, and their originality into real-world outcomes. Each of these houses activates with time, turning potential into practice. Aquarius, the innovator and dissenter, must learn to move from abstract insight to incremental mastery. The gift of vision matures only through repetition, resilience, and relationship to form. The 3rd house, Aries, assertive voice, courageous skill, and direct communication. Activated ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, 75. With Mars-ruled Aries in the 3rd, Aquarius Rising is challenged to speak up, act boldly, and build skill through initiative. This house brings fire to the air sign, pushing them to not just think, but do. In early life, there may be bluntness, reactive speech, or difficulty regulating assertiveness. But maturity brings tactical communication, independent learning, and leadership through concise action. This is the house where the rebel learns rhetoric, and where the revolutionary must practice daily assertion, not just ideological resistance. The 3rd becomes the engine of momentum, where innovation gains courage and clarity. The 6th house, Cancer, emotional labor, empathic service, and sensitive structure. Activated ages 6, 18, 30, 42, 54, 66, 78. With Cancer in the 6th, Aquarius Rising must bring feeling into function. The rational visionary must now feel their way through routine, service, and conflict. Emotional attunement is key to solving problems, maintaining health, and leading through care. Initially, there may be avoidance of mundane tasks or difficulty managing emotional ups and downs in workspaces. But over time, this placement fosters compassionate discipline, nurturing workflows, and careers in caregiving, healing, or emotional systems. Here, Aquarius learns that service isn't about efficiency alone. It's about emotional presence in practical roles. The 10th house, Scorpio, intense reputation, strategic leadership, and legacy through transformation. Activated ages 10, 22, 34, 46, 58, 70, 82 with Scorpio at the top of the chart, Aquarius Rising builds public authority through depth, secrecy, and transformation. This is not the path of traditional recognition. It's the path of impact through reform, precision, and strategic insight. Early career may involve volatility, power struggles, or slow ascent due to karmic complexity. But when integrated, this becomes the chart of the system changer, the crisis navigator, the investigator leader. This careers may involve psychology, finance, research, or covert influence. This house insists that Aquarius own their power, not just intellectually, but practically and emotionally. The 11th house, Sagittarius, expansive networks, ethical gains, and collective vision. Activated ages 11, 23, 35, 47, 59, 71, 83. With Jupiter-ruled Sagittarius in the 11th, Aquarius Rising channels their loftiest dreams through wide-ranging, idealistic social movements. This house expands their reach, fueling the desire to belong to something global, inspiring, and liberating. In youth, this may lead to scattered ideals, overcommitment to causes, or ideological clashes with peers. But as they mature, Aquarius Rising becomes a beacon for collective evolution, drawing diverse allies, championing large-scale reform, and creating spaces for hope. Their gains come through truth-based collaboration, and their legacy through communities that reflect cosmic optimism. In summary, the Upachaya houses for Aquarius Rising transform abstract intelligence into active impact. Aries in the 3rd teaches them to fight with focus. Cancer in the 6th asks them to serve with sensitivity. Scorpio in the 10th challenges them to lead with emotional mastery. Sagittarius in the 11th expands their social vision into universal resonance. These houses don't soften Aquarius, they sharpen them. Through them, the visionary becomes the builder of a better future, anchored, emotional, and ethically empowered. The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Aquarius Rising, 8 most defining conjunctions in the Upachaya houses, where the vision gains muscle and the future learns to function. For Aquarius Rising, the Upachaya houses, 3rd Aries, 6th Cancer, 10th Scorpio, and 11th Sagittarius, are the testing grounds for taking high-minded ideals and making them usable. Ruled by Saturn and co-ruled by Rahu, Aquarius has the gift of foresight, but these houses demand application, repetition, and emotional grounding. Here, the rebel must organize, the intellectual must serve, and the social reformer must earn their impact through consistency and courage. Each conjunction within these houses becomes a developmental pivot point, pushing Aquarius Rising to move from imagination to implementation and from abstraction to mastery. Mars-Mercury in the 3rd, the tactical initiator or the combative communicator. This gives Aquarius Rising fast thinking, bold speech, and sharp decision-making. They can launch movements, pioneer in media, or lead short-term projects with agility. But if afflicted, it brings impatience, verbal conflict, or a tendency to bulldoze others' input. Maturity comes when they channel their fire into strategy, not reaction, and practice dialogue as a form of leadership, not warfare. Mars plus Moon in the 3rd, the courageous communicator or the reactive sibling. This combination adds emotional force to speech and independent will in learning environments. Aquarius Rising may express themselves with raw authenticity and instinctive drive. But early on, it may show as emotional impulsiveness, frustration in skill building, or tension with siblings. Their evolution comes when they respond rather than react, and when their voice becomes a tool for healing, not provocation. Moon plus Saturn in the 6th, the steady nurturer or the emotionally burdened worker. In Cancer, this pairing gives Aquarius Rising the ability to care deeply and work tirelessly, especially in healing, caregiving, or domestic professions. But when unevolved, it leads to emotional suppression, martyrdom in service, or guilt around personal needs. They evolve when they care without collapsing, and when they allow discipline to protect their sensitivity, not punish it. Mercury plus Venus in the 6th, the harmonious problem solver or the indecisive helper. This refined combo brings grace to systems. Aquarius Rising becomes excellent in therapeutic communication, wellness management, or any daily work requiring diplomacy. But afflicted, it causes procrastination, conflict avoidance, or misaligned service priorities. Growth blooms when they prioritize clarity over comfort, and when kindness flows through structure, not at the cost of it. Sun plus Saturn in the 10th, the karmic leader or the pressured performer. This weighty duo gives Aquarius Rising slow-building authority, especially in fields like governance, science, or social reform. They're born to carry responsibility, but in youth, it may feel like invisibility, career delays, or inner harshness. Their true power unfolds when they stop measuring worth by speed, and when they realize that respect is earned quietly by showing up when it counts. Venus-Mercury in the 10th, the elegant thinker or the image-driven decision-maker. This stylish combination lends Aquarius Rising aesthetic clarity, tactful leadership, and a gift for elevating public discourse. They do well in public policy, communications, or ethical business, but if afflicted, it creates obsession with optics, avoidance of conflict, or polished indecision. They evolve when they use style to support strategy and lead from substance with subtlety. Jupiter plus Sun in the 11th, the expansive ally or the inflated idealist. This bright, socially generous combo makes Aquarius Rising a force of hope in group environments. They lead through inspiration, teach within communities, and may pioneer global networks. But if imbalanced, it creates overextension, arrogance in alliances, or moral superiority. Maturity begins when they lead with humility, and when they uplift others, not as students, but as partners in evolution. Rahu plus Moon in the 11th, the empathic innovator or the emotionally reactive networker. This karmic conjunction pulls Aquarius Rising into emotionally charged social groups or visionary movements. They may intuit what the collective needs and shape it through story or reform. But afflicted, it causes group anxiety, approval-seeking, or identity confusion in networks. Growth begins when they ground their emotional insight and when their vision reflects inner clarity, not outer pressure. The Upachaya houses for Aquarius Rising teach that genius must be practiced. Aries in the 3rd pushes them to express with courage. Cancer in the 6th asks them to serve with soul. Scorpio in the 10th demands they earn leadership through depth and steadiness. Sagittarius in the 11th urges them to connect the future to community through belief and belonging. When matured, Aquarius Rising becomes the visionary who not only dreams of the future, but steadily builds it. With heart, wisdom, and grounded innovation. The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Aquarius Rising, Part 3. The 6th house, Cancer, Emotional Discipline, Nurturing Service, and the Quiet Power of Soft Work, where the visionary learns to feel and the revolutionary must learn to care. For Aquarius Rising, the 6th house, the arena of daily work, routine, illness, problem-solving, and self-improvement, falls in Cancer, ruled by the moon. This is where the air sign of abstraction, intellect, and innovation must descend into the emotional body and learn to serve with feeling. Cancer here infuses the work environment with mood, intuition, and vulnerability. It challenges Aquarius Rising to balance their impersonal clarity with deep human connection in their approach to service and wellness. The rebel must now become the caregiver. The strategist must now become the nurturer of systems. And the idealist must confront the fact that healing and maintenance are messy, cyclical, and tender. Let's explore the most defining conjunctions in Cancer that shape how Aquarius Rising evolves in the 6th house, transforming daily discipline into empathic wisdom and emotional resilience. Moon Saturn, the quiet anchor or the resentful worker. This weighty conjunction brings Aquarius Rising long-term emotional endurance in service roles. They may take on caregiving, administrative, or support-heavy positions with deep responsibility. But early in life, it creates emotional self-denial, guilt around resting, or fear of not doing enough. Their healing begins when they honor their own feelings as part of the system they manage, and allow softness into their service without seeing it as weakness. Moon's Mercury, the empathic technician, or the anxious helper. This sensitive combo gives Aquarius Rising high emotional intelligence in everyday communication. They may be natural counselors, teachers, or intuitive organizers. But when afflicted, it creates overthinking, people-pleasing, or emotional reactivity at work. Maturity comes when they allow feelings to inform, not override, and when clarity becomes a bridge, not a shield. Moon's Mars, the protective healer, or the reactive rescuer. This combination drives Aquarius Rising to act on behalf of others. They may excel in emergency care, crisis management, or child-centered healing professions. But early in life, it causes emotional volatility, reactive habits, or unconscious burnout. Their evolution unfolds when they channel emotional urgency into steady support and when they serve through calm response, not compulsive reaction. Moon plus Venus, the harmonizing helper, or the emotionally drained caretaker. This elegant, nurturing blend gifts Aquarius Rising with a healing presence. They may work in wellness, food, design, or beauty-infused service roles. But when immature, it results in self-sacrifice, boundary blurring, or avoidance of discomfort in daily routines. They grow when they care without collapsing, and when routine becomes a rhythm that includes pleasure, not just performance. Sun plus Moon, the integrated worker, or the identity-entangled server. This luminary pairing strengthens Aquarius Rising's sense of personal responsibility in work and health. They shine in service when heart and will align. But if afflicted, it causes confusion around work identity or seeking validation through how much they do for others. Maturity begins when they lead from within and when being of service includes boundaries, not burnout. Saturn plus Mars, the long-distance runner or the silent resistor. This gives Aquarius Rising tremendous work ethic and the stamina to master hard routines. They're built for healthcare, operations, or any system that demands both force and form. But if afflicted, it leads to resentment, chronic fatigue, or denial of emotional needs. They evolve when they stop treating feelings like inefficiency and realize that sustainable strength is made of rest as well as resolve. Mercury plus Venus, the gentle fixer or the non-confrontational worker. This pairing gives Aquarius Rising grace, tact, and empathy in practical tasks. They're gifted at creating harmonious spaces, easing tensions, and communicating care. But when immature, it leads to conflict avoidance, passive overwork, or hesitance to say no. Their healing begins when they speak with softness, but stand with strength, and when they trust that love is most useful when it is honest. Rahu plus Moon, the emotional dissenter, or the addicted servant. This karmic pairing can make Aquarius rising emotionally entangled with their work, obsessing over approval or escaping discomfort through busyness. They may gain fame in healing, caregiving, or emotional advocacy, but suffer internally. True growth comes when they ground their emotional life before they serve, and when they remember that they are not what they give, they are who they are when they pause to receive. In summary, Cancer in the 6th house teaches Aquarius rising that efficiency isn't everything. Empathy is an equal tool. These conjunctions reveal whether they'll serve from wound or wisdom, and whether their routines are protective or performative. When integrated, Aquarius rising becomes not just a worker, but a steward of healing through feeling. An intuitive systems builder who knows that the future is not just built through intellect, but through compassion practiced in the everyday. The Upachaya houses, Conscious Growth with Time, Aquarius Rising, Part 4. The 10th house, Scorpio, Strategic Leadership, Transformational Karma, and the Power of Purposeful Depth, where the detached reformer learns emotional authority and the future builder learns to command the present. For Aquarius Rising, the 10th house, Karma Bhava, the realm of status, vocation, public responsibility, and legacy, falls in Scorpio, ruled by Mars, and co-ruled by Ketu. This is not a light or linear journey to success. Here, the cool conceptual Aquarius must confront emotional intensity, power dynamics, hidden motives, and karmic responsibility. It is in this house that Aquarius rising learns to lead not only through innovation, but through transformation. Scorpio in the 10th insists that Aquarius rising own their influence, not just ideologically, but psychologically and spiritually. Their public path involves deep reform, invisible labor, or work in fields that require secrecy, trust, and profound ethical clarity. They are not meant to rise through noise, but through precision, strategy, and a willingness to evolve through trial and intensity. Let's explore the most defining conjunctions in Scorpio that shape Aquarius rising's evolution through their public karma. Sun plus Saturn, the shadow executive or the disciplined reformer. This karmic pair gives Aquarius rising profound leadership capability through quiet mastery. They may rise in roles that require institutional reform, legacy management, or systemic rebuilding. But early life may feel like suppression, invisibility, or delayed recognition. Their authority matures when they own their work in the shadows and realize that true command is earned through endurance, not exposure. Mars plus Mercury, the tactical leader or the intellectually dominant boss. This sharp pairing brings Aquarius rising fast strategy, clear thinking, and precision in execution. They may become cutting-edge analysts, crisis navigators, or tech-savvy decision-makers. But when unevolved, it can lead to manipulation, power plays, or combative communication in leadership roles. Their growth lies in letting clarity empower, not control, and in directing fire toward purpose, not friction. Mars plus Moon, the emotional strategist, or the reactive authority figure. This combo gives Aquarius rising the strength to lead from instinct and deep feeling, but only if they've integrated their emotional body. They may succeed in high-pressure environments, emergency systems, or trauma-informed leadership, but when afflicted, it causes mood-driven action, volatility in public image, or fear of vulnerability. Mastery emerges when they lead from emotional clarity, not emotional reaction. Venus plus Mercury, the graceful operator or the image-dependent professional. This combination grants Aquarius rising charm, subtle persuasion, and aesthetic tact in public roles. They thrive in diplomacy, design, strategic communication, or systems rooted in human values. But when immature, it can lead to superficial decision-making, fear of visibility, or avoidance of complexity. Maturity blooms when they align elegance with depth, and when their voice carries both form and transformation. Venus plus Saturn, the ethical designer or the restrained leader. This duo brings refinement, ethics, and long-term vision to Aquarius rising's public role. They may lead in law, finance, art institutions, or restoration of damaged systems. But early on, it creates self-doubt, perfection paralysis, or an aversion to recognition. They rise when they own their mastery without apology, and when grace becomes the delivery system for structure, not the mask hiding behind it. Sun Rahu, the magnetic visionary or the power-addicted professional. This high-voltage pairing can catapult Aquarius rising into public visibility, especially in controversial or unconventional roles. It creates charisma, ambition, and obsession with influence. But Rahu's shadow brings ego inflation, manipulation, or instability in reputation. Evolution happens when they tie purpose to ethics, not performance, and when they let impact outweigh image. Mercury, Jupiter, the deep strategist or the overconfident analyst. This intelligent fusion gives Aquarius rising a powerful mind for long-term reform, governance, or policy work. They may excel in think tanks, political frameworks, or hidden realms of knowledge. But afflicted, it leads to arrogance, intellectual distancing, or analysis without application. Their maturity unfolds when they use wisdom as a tool for restructuring, not retreat, and when their strategy serves people, not just principles. Moon plus Ketu, the invisible leader or the emotionally detached professional, this karmic pairing can make Aquarius rising feel unseen in their work or emotionally disconnected from public validation. Yet over time, it cultivates profound intuitive leadership and internal calm. They may work in spiritual institutions, covert networks, or healing systems. Their power activates when they detach with love and realize that serving without spotlight is not invisibility. It is initiation into deeper leadership. In summary, Scorpio in the 10th house demands that Aquarius rising own the power they usually deflect. These conjunctions ask them to lead not just with vision, but with presence, depth, and responsibility. The detached intellectual must become the grounded transformer. The rebel becomes the silent architect of legacy. When integrated, Aquarius rising becomes not just a thought leader, but a force of public transformation, earning influence through psychological wisdom, karmic mastery, and fearless, soul-rooted execution. The Upachaya houses, conscious growth with time, Aquarius rising part 5. The 11th house, Sagittarius, expansive vision, idealistic alliances, and wisdom shared through collective purpose. Where the visionary learns to belong and the revolutionary becomes the teacher of the tribe. For Aquarius rising, the 11th house, Labashtana, the space of long-term goals, social networks, and meaningful gain, falls in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. After the intensity and strategic depth of Scorpio in the 10th house, Sagittarius in the 11th lifts Aquarius rising into broader horizons, global causes, philosophical alliances, and a higher purpose for their innovation. This is where the thinker becomes the guide, and the dissenter becomes a bridge between ideals and systems. With Jupiter's fire lighting the house of community and aspiration, Aquarius rising learns to connect vision with expansion. They must let go of excessive detachment and step into inspired belonging. Their most lasting rewards don't come from isolated brilliance, but from participating in shared meaning, ethical leadership, and the joy of future-minded collaboration. Let's explore the defining conjunctions in Sagittarius that shape Aquarius rising's evolution in alliances, social influence, and visionary gains. Sun plus Jupiter, the idealistic mentor or the self-righteous leader. This bold, radiant pair gives Aquarius rising magnetic leadership in group settings. They inspire others through truth-telling, teaching, or mission-driven activism. But when imbalanced, it creates moral superiority or ego-led idealism. Growth comes when they lead without preaching and realize that the best guide walks with the group, not above it. Mercury plus Jupiter, the expansive educator or the conceptual overreacher. This high-minded blend gives Aquarius rising a love of learning, a gift for sharing knowledge, and success through teaching, publishing, or speaking within communities. But if unevolved, it leads to intellectual overload, scattered goals, or impractical optimism. Maturity arrives when they distill the truth into usable insight, and when their knowledge feeds movement, not just abstraction. Mars plus Jupiter, the bold organizer or the overzealous campaigner. This duo gives Aquarius rising fierce drive to move ideas into action. They can lead humanitarian missions, tech revolutions, or philosophical movements. But when imbalanced, they may burn out from overextension or clash with others over principles. Their breakthrough occurs when they match intensity with integrity, and when their fire lights paths, not torches. Venus, Jupiter, the graceful ally or the idealized peacemaker. This benevolent combo gives Aquarius rising social magnetism and the ability to attract support, resources, and affection through wisdom and diplomacy. They are beloved in groups and may find material success through ethical collaboration, but when afflicted, it can create naivete, idealistic blindness, or avoidance of necessary conflict. They grow when they let beauty carry meaning, and when grace serves purpose, not just peace. Mercury's Venus, the diplomatic visionary or the popular fence-sitter. This gives Aquarius rising clarity, charm, and an ability to mediate within ideological or activist communities. They make wonderful connectors, creators, and communicators. But afflicted, it results in indecision, fear of confrontation, or surface-level agreement. Their strength comes when they say the right thing not for approval, but for alignment, and when they hold harmony without hiding truth. Moon plus Jupiter, the nurturing teacher or the emotionally overextended giver. This heartfelt conjunction gives Aquarius rising warmth, spiritual generosity, and a capacity to build emotionally resonant communities. They lead with empathy and elevate others with hope. But early on, they may absorb too much emotional responsibility or attach their worth to their social role. They evolve when they trust others to carry their own light and when they teach through example, not sacrifice. Rahu plus Sun, the social reformer or the fame-obsessed idealist. This karmic pair drives Aquarius rising to pursue fame, recognition, or mass influence through visionary platforms. They may lead in digital spaces, social justice, or global thought networks. But Rahu can distort the Sun into ego, spectacle, or spiritual bypassing. Maturity begins when they choose legacy over limelight and let their voice serve humanity, not their personal mythology. Saturn plus Jupiter, the moral architect or the dogmatic strategist. This serious blend gives Aquarius rising a strong ethical spine, long-term strategic clarity, and the ability to hold space for generational change. They may be drawn to law, reform, education, or large-scale planning. But when unevolved, it creates rigidity, pessimism, or over-attachment to being right. Power unfolds when they embrace progress as process, and when they design systems that breathe, not dictate. In summary, Sagittarius in the 11th house teaches Aquarius rising that freedom must be shared to be real, and that knowledge must walk among people to make a difference. These conjunctions shape whether they will inspire through ideas or elevate through presence. The Upachaya magic here grows with every choice to speak truth with kindness, to guide without superiority, and to dream big while building together. When integrated, Aquarius rising becomes not only the mind of the future, but the torchbearer of collective hope, rooted in vision, trust, and an unshakable belief in human progress.